All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Parasyte the Maxim, episode 21. All right, so
Okay.
everything's gone to hell in the.
And yet it's not as bad as I kind of expected it to be. Like, it's
it
bad.
can still get worse.
But it can get much worse.
It can get much worse, yeah.
But
but the humans have an effective tool for dealing with the parasites that are solo.
Right.
Not Goto, basically.
Yeah, and not Hirokawa, probably. Because
I think that
he's
for the
got
most part,
something else, I guess.
For the most part, his thing is probably going to be about establishing some kind of means of communication through filibustering or whatever.
Something, yeah.
I don't know what he's doing.
But I get the feeling he doesn't need to filibuster. Like he's doing that because he wants to, but it's not because, he wouldn't have a way to deal with these guys on his own.
Well, it could be that, but it could also be kind of the leader sacrifice thing where they go and lead a bunch of the soldiers over to a place there while the rest of them are, escaping from the roof or something.
Yeah.
Because there were a bunch of them that separated off from the group early.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's doing this alone makes it feel like he more wants to make a statement rather than kind of like he's going to, kill them all or something.
Right,
like
exactly.
That.
Yeah, because that'd be too easy.
I mean, after all, they have the high ground,
Hello there. Yeah.
Goto dispatched them easily.
Yes, very easily.
It seemed more like just a test to see what how they were capable of.
Right. Yeah.
Because Goto is basically Legion, at this case. There are many.
And Shinichi still hasn't gotten directly involved.
Yes.
Which is good.
Which is good for the most part, yeah.
Who knows how long that'll last, but
exactly.
Right now, good.
Right now, so far so good, yeah. But it's escalating. So
it definitely has.
Yeah. Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone. Now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, and then come back here to YouTube for the discussion. Oh my god. Okay, so a couple things to go off really quick. First of all, Hirokawa was a human the whole time.
Yep.
And I was right. He was going to filibuster. He was going to do the most human thing he could do.
Right.
Because he knew he was going to die. He was already being lumped in with the parasites. However, there was a slim chance that he could have done basically the thing of, he could have abandoned them, basically.
Well, right, and that's what Goto brought up, which totally, originally I was thinking, you're a really good parasite, whatever, you'll be able to, you could slip out of here if you wanted to.
Right.
But no, it's that you could just go with them.
Whenever.
Yep. And they'll realize you're a human, and you'll be good to go, and you're free, there you go, right?
But no. It wasn't just the fact that he was, caught in the middle, because he had distanced himself from the human race in a lot of ways. And it wasn't that he had necessarily, come to see the parasites as basically, the only way forward. It was that he was so frustrated with these failings of the human race that he's like, we need something that can be introduced to remind the humans, basically, the more important things of life. Try to find their natural place, because he's basically saying that the humans have not been a good steward of the planet, but also their place in nature as the dominant species.
Right.
Because I think it's the idea of human beings basically being in kind of societal breakdown over the lack of any existential threat other than being each other.
Yeah.
So you end up in these situations where humanity is divided, and they end up causing all kinds of crazy wars and all kinds of just ideologies that end up with just mass murder and all that stuff. So yeah,
we rise to the occasion, but a lot of times there isn't an occasion, or sometimes the occasion isn't something that should be risen to.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. And it really is so fitting, because it's also the whole idea of basically saying that one of, at the same time, right, the humanity's greatest enemy is itself, right?
Yeah.
Both with how humanity will turn on each other and all this stuff, and all the craziness that happens.
Yep.
And at the same time, right, the idea that that humanity is so screwed up that something like the parasites is a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Humanity, right? Like humans could have been the ones that developed the parasites in the first place, for all we know.
It's almost irrelevant at this point where the parasites came from.
Yeah, they exist now.
Yeah, this is another thing that's rather interesting, is that a lot of people have theorized that the only thing that will ever unite humanity in the future would be some kind of grand existential threat on a something
right,
like that.
some scale beyond human, so like aliens or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And while I think in a lot of ways that would be rather good, I would say there would be a lot more focus on not having it be important as to which group of humans is the strongest or which group of humans ends up having the most control over the way things go, but we make advancements that benefit the species as a whole, and not just the species, but benefit our environment as a species, where we're actually going to continue being a species. And a lot of decisions, unfortunately, because of the way we're so short-term minded with regards to how we do things, it happens to have some benefit, but it's over the first 5-10 years of its implementation, and then maybe it has little to no benefit because of the rapid acceleration of technology. So there, it's something where we're like, it was nice for a time, but it didn't really have any benefit in the now.
Are you talking about anything in particular, or just like...
No, I'm talking about a whole bunch of just general things.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of things that we see, I would say, nowadays that are kind of general advancements where we go, this is just a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a good thing. And it's something that will probably be good and as far as beneficial and helpful for the species for a very long period of time. Like, for example...
computers.
I'm talking about something that would be a little bit more new, but
okay.
moving towards solar energy for a lot more of the way we consume power and stuff like that. Over reliance on a physical medium of fuel conversion just leads to issues in the long scale of things. Now, they might not happen for 1,000 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, would it not be better to just do that as soon as possible?
Humans rise to the occasion. So isn't it good to be ahead of the curve so that we rise to the occasion before it becomes like a necessity?
Right. And while I think we definitely do rise to the occasion when adversity comes towards us, when we don't necessarily have adversity to us, I think in some ways... This could be a very interesting conversation because it could go in a lot of directions, but do you think that humans, we actually like to create adversity?
Definitely.
For the purpose of actually, feeling like our lives have purpose and merit?
Well, yeah, because that's, the whole idea of, the rat race and, how people can, I know at least for me personally, I can a lot of times get obsessed with trying to constantly, be better than I was yesterday kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
But it can turn into this crazy obsession where then you're not satisfied in the moment, and then it's this very unhappy state of constantly trying to move things to the next level, and specifically putting myself in a place of what was the
I said adversity.
Yeah, adversity, right? Because it's
where's the adversity in that situation?
Because it's the idea of overcoming the adversity, right?
What adversity though? I'm confused because you're just
any kind of adversity, like anytime that you have. That you value anything, you end up getting some kind of hierarchy and some order or other, right?
Sure.
Because you value some things more than others, and because of that, right? Then the moving, say, up the hierarchy, whatever that may be, whether it's your ability to draw or write stories,
right,
or whatever, right? Like physical fitness, it's all something that you can progress in that situation through overcoming adversity, right?
Okay, I think I might have the wrong definition of adversity, but I don't think adversity is something that just is a struggle. adversity is something that's an actual conflict, like an actual.
I think they're the same thing. Like,
okay.
I mean, because there's conflicts that are more serious conflicts, right? Like conflicts that are like you are actually in danger, because of this thing, right? And then there's the things where it maybe doesn't put you in like life or death danger, but maybe it puts you in a little bit of danger. The whole idea that when you get exposed to something, and maybe it builds up your immune system, but you're technically being put in like those little micro bits of danger.
Right, those are environmental factors,
right?
Though, so that can't come from you. Though.
Well, no, but it can, because we can dictate our environment. We can put ourselves in an environment that we choose in order to try and help us develop and grow in a certain way that we want. It's the same way that like when like parents, are wanting to start a family and they're trying to figure out where to live. It's oftentimes because they want to live in the good location with the good schools, with the low crime rates and all that stuff, so their little Johnny can grow up big and strong and all that stuff.
Okay, well, I'm talking about like creating actual adversity where there is none for no purpose, just for the feeling of purpose. Like there is no actual purpose in it. It's just for the sense of purpose.
Well, I would say
so. Like I understand how it can be a thing, like putting yourself in adversity for the purpose of like working out. Right now when I like do my dumbbell lifts or what have you, my muscles are in a state of adversity,
right.
because there's resistance.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about necessarily like...
Yeah, what would be your example of like adversity where there's no value?
Adversity where there's no value, it would be the equivalent of like... I would say it'd be the equivalent of just basically complaining about how things are not optimal for your daily life. It's kind of the equivalent of basically the people that just blathering on social media about their latest first world problem, basically. And that's my example, because I live in a first world country and stuff where the problems I have are so easy to deal with as far as everything there, that it's actually insane that I could call them really like problems and stuff like that. Now, there are definitely serious problems and stuff in a first world country and stuff that are very real and actually need to be dealt with and stuff. But when you're in a situation where there is no adversity with regards to those specific things, I think there are a lot of times where we sometimes get a little bit, I would say a little bit lost with regards to where our purpose lies as individuals, and we seek out adversity for the purpose of probably overcoming it. I would say I would assume the best about most people.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the times when
but yours is like the epitome of overcoming the things that are not your environment. Even those are, you're talking about overcoming things that are yourself, and that.
Well, yeah, but like I don't know. Maybe this is just like how I think on it. But I feel like a lot of the times, adversity and pain and things like that, even if it's not consciously this way, I feel like maybe subconsciously it's this way, that we use that as basically like our compass, where wherever that is, we want to move away from it. So when we have that, we have direction, right? We have a way to go. Get rid of that, right? Make it so that isn't a problem, right?
Yes, that is more of the evolutionary reasons as to why we do things. I'm talking about the people that have no direction because there is no adversity. So they generate some out of nothingness to point them in a direction. And in those instances, they actually run towards it because they have to actually feel it. I'm serious. I think this is like a legitimate problem we have, is that there are problems that are very real, that are very real problems that we have to deal with as a society and as a people, as a species. And we jump on minor little problems that could like actually be probably dealt with in a very real way, but
well, I feel like for, but yeah, I mean, maybe for things like that, it's something where, because it's like the people that put other people down in order to make themselves feel better.
Yes,
right?
Yes, exactly.
It's something where it has it. There's a purpose to it, because since they, like in that case, they don't feel adversity, so they're trying to create adversity in a place where they're not. That way, they feel like they're still progressing
or contributing, or
whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, humans are weird creatures, and
I feel like sometimes we're actually like way too simple. Like sometimes
probably
we're boringly predictable with specific things. Like you were saying that when adversity is something that we come up against, generally speaking, based on the fact that we have a survival instinct, when adversity comes about, we tend to run away.
Right. Yeah.
And I would say that that is 100% true. I would say that for people in the U.S., in the general situation that we find ourselves in here, we are definitely facing adversity on somewhat of a consistent basis on some level.
But it certainly could be worse, kind of a thing, yeah.
Basically, but there are areas where we are experiencing no adversity.
Sure.
And when I say no adversity, I mean like little to none. And maybe it's all a matter of scale, it's all a matter of magnitude with regards to very specific things where it's well, yeah, I am experiencing it in these areas, though.
Right.
But I feel like when with what this show is bringing up is that they're bringing up the point that you as human beings do not actually experience true adversity. You experience something that you think is adversity, but real adversity would be having another dominant species that you actively have to think about on a consistent basis of how you are going to make it through your day in a survival type mechanism, which will drive you as a species to become
better,
just more.
Yeah.
And in that respect, I would say there is nothing in the human experience that's I'm using too much emphatic language here. There are only a handful of things, I would say, that are on that level that we're currently experiencing, and most of them are self-inflicted. In fact, I would say all of them are self-inflicted.
Like self-inflicted on the individual level or on the societal level?
Well, it's good. It's all cyclical, dude.
Well, no, but like
it starts individual, then it builds.
Sure, but if it
it starts on the human level. On the human level, all of those handful of things are things that we are creating,
right? Because we don't really have any competition at this point. So
our competition is hurricanes and disease, dude. And a lot of that stuff comes about as our due to us sometimes as well. So I get Hirakawa's frustrations here in that the problems that we have, and there are many, and I don't want to get all into that whole specific stuff here, but a lot of the problems that we're dealing with are things that we perpetuate ourselves as a species, things that we specifically are responsible for, and we don't necessarily want solutions to all of them. We jump after the littler things that are causing us adversity and creating even more adversity out of those things to make us feel like we have purpose, because maybe we don't feel capable or even like we are even there's even a possibility of solving any of the big, like the big problems or what have you. So that frustrates me. I understand Hirakawa's frustration. Because I don't feel individually capable of solving the huge problems.
Oh, yeah.
But I know on an individual level, there are things that I can do that do not perpetuate the problem.
Right. Yeah.
But every once in a while, when I think I'm in mediocrity, basically, I understand a little bit of the desire to create a little bit of adversity in this area so that I can feel like I'm living a life of purpose.
Force yourself to tap into those reserves that you know you have, but you don't access because it's hard.
No, see, again, I understand where you're going at this. You're going at this from the self-improvement kind of things. I'm going at this from the dysfunction side of things.
Well, okay, but I mean,
because I wish it was something with what you're talking about there. I wish it was. I feel like a lot of people do tap into those reserves that you're talking about there in order to grow who they are.
Right. Yeah. I'm talking about it through a filter of like the way I, talk about things and and all that stuff and the way my mind works.
Right.
But
I'm trying to connect with what Hirakawa specifically is talking about here.
Yeah, the idea of the human race, uniting and working together for what's best for the human race as a whole, as opposed to just thinking about things on an individual level and
not even and not even just the human race, but actually the environment that we're in, so that the human race actually continues to be a thing.
Right. And that was one of the things that I loved that he said. It's like it doesn't make sense. He's like, we're in this situation and there are so many things that where it is in our best best interest in order to make these things happen because, like, I mean, we're the people at the top. So anything that happens here that's good for all the stuff here, it all comes back around to us anyways, right?
Yeah.
You know,
It's just a rant of frustration that I like that they basically kind of got a little bit, in a meta way, a little preachy here.
Oh, yeah.
The guy literally got up on the podium and was like speaking
talking about the environment and stuff. Yeah.
No. I'm talking about the way he was doing this. He's a politician speaking on a podium to armed soldiers who are staring down muzzles about to kill him.
He ends up getting killed for it.
And he ends up getting killed for it. And they had denounced him as one of the monsters. And then when they go to inspect him, he was a human all along.
Right. Yep.
It's extremely.
It's quite poetic.
It's extremely ironic in a twisted way. The thing I resonate with Hirokawa's frustrations with there is that on an individual level, he also realized that he probably couldn't do that much about it. So his solution was something that had a lot of problems, was introducing a predator species as a viable means of attaining some kind of balance with regards to the natural order of things. You know, bigger things eat smaller things. Right. And the smaller things adapt and evolve to coexist straight up.
Or even stomp out.
Well, actually, that's never exists in our natural order of things. Name a smaller species that like overturned the predator, the predator over the course of time, like other than humans. I
mean, in some ways, humans, it's like based on perspective whether you want to see humans as that or not.
Sure.
Because in some ways you could say, well, humans don't have any of those physical capabilities and stuff.
Right.
So we were at the mercy of the wolves and all that stuff, you know.
Right.
And then we figured out how to turn the tables, and no, we're not.
Yeah, the wolves were never defeated by the gazelle, not the gazelle, or the deer, or what have you. Like, in some ways, you could say that even if there was something like that happened, we would never know about it because it would have happened so long ago before our
it would just
time.
happen and then it's over, you know.
It was like a blip in history, you know.
Right, exactly.
And in some ways, it's actually the crueler thing is that it's the other way around. There are entire species of animals and creatures and what have you that were on the non-predatory side of things that were absolutely wiped out, and we see that every once in a while with things where it's like a type of species that wasn't able to adapt to the environment, so they die out. It's like
or it got hunted too much.
Yeah, it got hunted to oblivion, basically. But we've also seen that with humans, and where we'll just end up destroying the habitats for species X, Y, Z,
or other humans. Yeah.
And then,
Rules of nature.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if we were the moral species, if we were the one that had any kind of claim to that because of our intelligence or any kind of thing like that, you know, it's something that we would have to wrestle with as if like, oh, this is just something where it doesn't matter.
We were the moral species.
If we were the moral species.
Well, in order to have that, there'd need to be no individuals. Well, because then we'd have to all be the same.
Well, I think it's something actually kind of cocky is that we sometimes attain to believe that we are the moral species. That's why I was saying if we were.
Oh.
And because, you know, a lot of times we'll do things every once in a while and have it be, in some ways, our moral salve.
You don't like
this conversation?
No, I don't think anyone really has ever posited that humans are the moral species.
Wait,
what? No. There are humans. No, we have a concept of morality, but to say that humanity as a whole is moral, that's absolutely ridiculous.
No. I'm not talking about us being the moral species as in like all the other species are evil or something like that. No, I'm saying that we're the only species that has morality.
Right. It's not always good, but
no, in fact,
we have it. Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think it's actually arrogant to say that we actually we even have it in some ways, because we make all these other excuses for the things that we do that just I would say, based on the time or the what have you, these parasites, they're a threat to our species. It's just the natural order of things, moral and stuff.
Well,
I think that's what the show is trying to bring up here, is that there's a very clear problem with the way humans interact with our environment. That just means anything that's not you, the individual. Because we go at this at the society level, it then interacts with other societies. Well, if it's on the individual level, it's how we interact with other individuals. If it's on the species level, well, then it comes into the problem of where things that aren't us in the natural kind of species order of things.
Right. We do not live in a utopia.
No, we are. We are making lots of mistakes, and we have to live with those consequences.
Yep.
And Hirokawa's frustration with that, I resonate with that.
Yeah. What I love about it is that which again just makes it so perfect that he's human. It is the most human thing to basically look at something and say, this is wrong, I'm going to fix it, and still be trying to fix it within the limitations and rule sets that causes things to be messed up in the first place. Like it's
how so?
Because it's the idea of the
parasites are a new thing.
Oh yeah. But the idea of one might say that it is the height of human arrogance to think that we could change things. Well, that we have enough power and greatness in us in order to be able to.
I think it's okay. I know what you're saying.
Not that you take that as like a literal thing all the time, right? Because of course, if you're not. But
I wouldn't call it the height of human arrogance.
Okay.
Because I would say it's more the height of human arrogance to say that there is no problem.
I'd call that ignorance personally. But...
Well, I know. Extreme arrogance is blind ignorance, basically. Yeah. It's staring in the mirror and going, full-on narcissism. I am perfect. Everything about me is absolutely wonderful.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because arrogance is essentially a disconnector, right? It's a thing that elevates. It's a thing that elevates you onto a pedestal, right?
Sure.
So if it's on the individual level or the species level,
right,
so it's everything else lower.
Right. So I would say arrogance is a specific form of focused ignorance.
Yes.
Yeah. It's in a specific area. It's like right here in pertaining to the self and and all of that. Yeah.
It's staring. Oh my god! It's staring at this Joseph Joestar amazing mouse pad and just going, "Oh, this is the best. Everything in life is wonderful."
Okay, I would posit that things couldn't be that bad if you had your face implanted.
Yeah, I just needed to bring some levity into this
because of Joseph Joestar.
Yeah, I just need to bring some levity to this because there's some really dark stuff.
Oh yeah, and that's why shows like Parasyte, that's why they exist, is because humans have to explore that. We have to wonder. We have to question. Because if we don't, what are we doing, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's just this dark thing in the corner that we choose to ignore. Right. What do we do about that?
Yeah, I think that. What you're getting at, though, with the idea of the arrogance of having the individual or the group or the what have you trying to figure out how to change something is something that you realize how much it would take, and to realize that the more important thing, rather than figuring out just the way to change something, is to take the actions down to the individual level, have everyone start to make those little adjustments so that over the course of time things could change. That is
right. It's the sacrifice.
That is realistic.
It's the sacrifice of some of the individuals within the society
for the
purpose of bettering the society as a whole, right? The idea that because usually when when people do things and they don't care about society or whatever, it's because my world's this big, I'm only focusing on these things, and it really makes me feel better when I do this, when I put other people down to make myself feel better, right?
Yeah.
And then that's with that contained little thing, it works. But it would certainly be better for the society maybe if that person didn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of other things to talk about in this episode. There was all the stuff with Shinichi having the trauma of realizing that Goto is not only out there,
he's after him,
but he holds him responsible. Goto very much holds Shinichi responsible for all of his friends. I mean, for
to
all
get
of his
closure.
For all the parasites and all the humans that died in this thing here. He holds Shinichi responsible.
Yep.
And in some ways, that's a little unwarranted, but in some ways it is warranted. Because Shinichi didn't do the hard thing. Shinichi didn't sacrifice the individual for the sake of the whole. He didn't use basically the best position he was in for something that was a little bit of a risk, but might have actually done a lot for the people in there and stuff like that.
And in some ways, I mean, here, he didn't actually even do anything. The one thing he suggested to them, the flamethrowers, they didn't even use, so that
was just Migi.
Well, right. But the idea that, in this particular situation with this event, he actually just sat in a computer and said, "No, I can't."
Nothing.
And did nothing, right?
Right.
But still, he was around, he was there, and and he could have done something to help the parasites possibly.
Who knows?
He didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that this bit of Goto kind of laying down his own kind of form of almost social judgment upon him by being like, "Hey, you were involved in this. You were a party to this.
Yep.
You stood by and did nothing. I'm coming for you."
Yep.
Now, here's my thing with that. Is that a lot of people will be standing by when something questionable is going on. In fact, it's almost like mathematical.
Right.
You get 1,000 people and you have them all like riled up about a specific thing that they need to do, and a lot of people aren't happy about it. Like a lot of people aren't happy about what that 1,000 people are doing. There's going to be a point where the 1,000 people interact with the million.
Right.
And of the million, a lot of them are going to be like, yeah, no, bye. Shut their doors, do nothing.
Right. That's how all the atrocities and histories happened, right? Because, if humanity were ever truly united towards one thing, then what could possibly stand in our way, right?
Yeah.
But then you get even just small groups of people that start doing something, relatively small groups, considering the human race as a whole, right?
And considering that we're all divided into,
right, exactly, all the subgroups and everything and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, that start doing something, and just when, the people around them don't do anything to stop them, that small group can do a whole lot.
Yeah, what's the only way evil can thrive is if good people do nothing, or good men do nothing. What is it?
I think something like that.
Yeah, there's a quote by someone really important. I wish I remember who it was, but it was basically like the only way that evil or what have you, or any kind of darkness of humanity can thrive and flourish is when good people basically just sit on their ass and do nothing about it. And the idea that Shinichi has ability. He has something in him that is different from everyone else. If anyone could act and make a slight difference, it might not have changed the end result, though. But it might have made a slight difference. Shinichi he is the main character. That's why we're focusing on him as the story.
Yes.
It is literally his place in the meta story to make the slight difference.
Well,
to do the thing that ends up resolving the adversity, the conflict.
And I love how it's, because again, it's showing the humanity of the parasites even amongst them being parasites. Like the fact that Goto said closure for one, but also the idea that he wasn't mad at the humans. He wasn't going after the humans. Now he has no problem killing humans, and he'll kill plenty of humans, right?
Right.
But he wasn't pissed at the humans that were actually doing the killing.
Yeah.
He was pissed at the one person that should have been able to empathize with his plight, the plight of his
he
people.
might not have empathy.
But whatever the equivalent is, right? That have some sense of, I'm also one of you. I'm also a parasite, right? And then see all these parasites.
Connection.
See all these parasites being executed, and maybe did something, but he didn't, right? Yep. He prioritized his own, like self-safety, right? Because if he had said like, by the way, guys, as you're killing all these parasites, I'm a parasite too, and I think we should stop this. It wouldn't have ended well for him, but Why should Goto care about that?
But who knows?
And who knows exactly? Yeah. Who's to say?
In a lot of ways, Jacob and I were talking about this whole situation with the bit here, and I think we've been predicting over the course of the season, or just the show, because there's multiple seasons, but how this could have gone down if Shinichi was, on the inside. And then when we finally see him on the inside, he's lucky enough to be able to have the option to keep his parasite friend Migi a secret.
Right.
But because of that, in some ways, because he had no adversity in this situation here, everything was mostly fine.
He stayed at the lowest point.
And didn't rise to the occasion.
Yep.
And then, therefore, when Goto comes out and is now scaring him to death,
right,
he freaks out, absolutely
Naturally.
Terrified.
Yep.
I loved how they showcased him going back to the beginning. Like, do you recognize the
way how Shinichi was at the start?
How they basically showed him with it's still his same face and what have you.
Oh yeah, but even like with how they drew his body and stuff, they made his shoulders like smaller and stuff like
shrunk down.
Yeah, exactly.
When the bullies came around, he had his side.
Yep. And that's why we don't rise to the occasion unless we're forced to, because it sucks. But now, because Shinichi's not alone, you just might be able to.
Yeah, okay. I don't think I can be as optimistic, though, about him rising to the occasion in that regard, because his desire was to live, not to make a difference, not to change anything, just to live. And live is basically just saying survive. I want to make it through this situation in such a way that I can live a happy life with Murano, which is super realistic. But here's the thing I think that they're going to bring up at some point, is that the more and more this goes, the more and more this isn't going to have a happy ending. No, this isn't going to have an ending with in some ways I almost think it's going to have a happy ending, but it's going to feel a little bit sick inside, because
bittersweet.
Yeah. More or less on the, you said the word closure. Like, there's not going to be as much closure because if you have a situation where Migi and Shinichi then basically get a happy life with Murano, for instance, and Goto ends up getting
killed or whatever,
or something like that, you end up with them basically having this. There's stuff out there in the world. There's crazy problems and stuff like that. We have, you have parasites and stuff out there and things like that. But I'm going to stay here and be, kind of in my quiet place of love and family and all that stuff like that. I can't deal with that. And I think that's something I would never judge Shinichi or Migi for. Like, I would never judge them for that. In some ways, that's the natural conclusion I think the two of them were coming to, in that we should just run far away.
Yeah, and just start over, pull up all routes.
But they got so lucky in that, in this case, Murano is like, no, I care about you. Well, there's one person out there that really cares about you. Yeah. So I'm either thinking they're going to kill her to basically force Shinichi to rise to the occasion.
Goto. Or just the show, okay.
The show. I'm talking on the meta level. Yeah.
So,
or it's going to be the thing where she lives, and then it's going to be the thing of like, once I've dealt with the problems that directly affect me, I'm gonna just try and live a quiet, peaceful life. And
I think that is the perfect way to end this, and I hope they end it that way. And Murano being there is basically the curse and the blessing in my mind, because the best option would be to run.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's consequences if they do that, not on them, but on everyone else that they care about, or at least that Shinichi cares about.
You think it's going to be even the remotely personal? I think it's going to be a thing of we're just left wondering.
Not necessarily personal, but even if Shinichi were to leave, it's still something where it's a he's leaving behind people that he cares about, right? And Murano being there is basically like the anchor that he's going to run, and then suddenly he's moored, and he's like, Oh,
okay.
I can't run. Oh boy. Now he has to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
You know, and because like I don't think they're gonna kill Murano off. I don't think they're going to.
Could.
Because but like the OP
It's
and
so
like the way it
cliche,
ends and
but
stuff, it's them together. They could, especially now not to get
well, technically they've already shown them together.
Yes, well, yeah. The meta thing is like in the stereotypical, stories, and the way it works is the main guy bangs the main girl right before the main battle, and potentially the main girl dies right after they bang.
It's so painfully predictable.
I don't think Murano's going to die, because I don't think Parasyte is that kind of show, and that it's late enough in the show that like I don't think they'll do that.
I think
because that's introducing new motivations.
What?
But, no, because then it's suddenly a thing of vengeance for Shinichi, as opposed to rising to the occasion and standing his ground.
You couldn't see this show ending in a way where we have a broken Shinichi?
I don't think so.
Oh wow!
You could.
I have
and
a dark
you could
mind,
say,
I guess,
and you could say that
sometimes.
Shinichi in some ways already is broken because the Shinichi that used to be is dead. Right,
Well,
that
that's
Shinichi
the
is
thing.
not coming back.
That's the thing. It's not even broken then. It's just this is a new character.
Right.
So I don't consider that Shinichi to even exist.
Right.
Really.
And the way I'm seeing it is that he's getting broken here, but what's causing him to basically put himself back together is the fact that he can't run away now. He won't be able to let himself run away now. Because if he were to run away, he would take Murano with him, but then, but he wants that peaceful life, so now he has to defend it.
Well, right, but he has to have her with him no matter what. So, if anything, why not delay the issue of fighting, Goto as long as possible? Potentially,
yeah, they could still just run away. Yeah.
So I think the main thing is that we are learning what the difference between kind of the fear, the emotion, the apathy, the love, all these things colliding in a person when they're set on the backdrop of this crazy adversity results in. And I think the one character that maybe we've not really given much focus to is Miggy. Like we've kind of left him on the wayside here, and that's more so I think because Miggy is primarily working overtime on the behalf of Shinichi to make sure that we get out of this okay.
Yeah,
and I respect Miggy for that. And way to go, buddy.
I gotta say, I love that they made the decision to have Shinichi be afraid, because for a second I was wondering if he was thinking, I'm just gonna cut off my arm. I'm just once I thought about it, I was like, no, that's not gonna happen. But once he realized that Miggy's asleep, just as a way to like try and distance himself from everything and just get away.
Oh, because then Goto wouldn't be able to find him.
Right. Yeah.
Then
I
don't think
disappears.
I don't think he can do that anymore because he's
right, and Miggy's all throughout him and everything.
Yeah.
The Legos have been mixed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The Legos have been mixed.
Like that's basically what it is.
All right.
Once you mix the Legos, you can't undo that.
I would never have come up with that phrase myself, but I love that you did. All right, y'all. That was a crazy episode, crazy discussion, lots of stuff here. We now have the next basically arc of the story, probably, and then they'll end the show.
Yep.
So yeah. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us or the community about these shows, about anime in general. And you can also talk with Jacob about the awesome book he wrote.
Yes, my sci-fi novel, Battle Lines, is available for order on Amazon. The link is in the description below, so go check it out. Leave a review. Let people know what you think. But also leave a review on Goodreads, if you already got it. But you can't leave a review on Amazon, do that. Do that. Reviews. Do it.
All right, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.